And welcome to Around the Ozarks Spotlight. Each week, we uncover the stories behind the people who live and work here in Southwest Missouri. Those individuals with entrepreneurial spirit who work to better the lives of others or even put pen to paper to write books about the stories and history of the Ozarks and its people. I'm your host, Scott Meier, and today we will explore the world of fast food and franchising. We've got Candace Lolcoma with us. Candace is the corporate field marketing coordinator. Got to find a way to make that shorter for Kansas and Missouri Whataburgers. And I must tell you, well, Candace, first of all, before I say anything, let's let you say something. How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Excellent. Now, where is Candace today? Where's your office?
I'm in Kansas City. I'm based out of like the southeast version of Kansas City. So I'm in a great spot between Kansas City and Springfield. So I can go back and forth really easily.
Excellent, excellent. And you've been with the Whataburger people how long?
I've been with Whataburger for 2 years as an employee, but loyalty member for a very long time, which will reveal my age, and I don't want that. So
No, well, by looking at you, your age can't be certainly over 30. And you're welcome if I was wrong. Hopefully to your benefit, correct? The Okay, now Whataburger. My history with Whataburger was I was first introduced. My wife and I were traveling in Texas, and we ran across a Whataburger, and instantly fell in love with some of their food. Most people scratch their head and go, "Why with a fast food restaurant?" And I'm like, "Well, Whataburger's a little different." And but here you are living near Kansas City. Are you from Kansas City?
I'm from southeast Kansas in a little town that they call a village.
Okay, not Pittsburgh.
Originally. It's not Pittsburgh.
It's not
Have you ever
Pittsburgh.
heard of Burlington, Kansas?
No, but Vermont is beautiful. So I'm sure Burlington, Kansas is quite nice as well.
It's not the best, but it is where I grew up. And I grew up in the middle of the United States. And so I
Sure.
just didn't want to be there anymore. So I found Corpus Christi as my new home in my 20s and fell in love with Whataburger then.
So you were exposed in Texas as well. How about that?
I was, yeah.
Yeah.
I have a hilarious backstory of how I fell in love with Whataburger.
Well, if it's that funny, then share it with us because now the pressure's on.
Okay. So I was 21 when I moved to Corpus Christi. I had
Mhm.
to find a beach because being in the middle of the United States, why couldn't you? So I moved to Corpus Christi, Texas. Texas couldn't have picked, California or Florida or the Carolinas, but that's okay. I love Texas.
Sure.
So I moved to Corpus, and then I couldn't figure out what I was doing with my life. So I started college, and I met this boy. And this
Yeah.
boy was like, "Hey, I want to take you on a date. Let's go to Whataburger." And I was like, "Ew, I'm from Kansas. I don't like mustard on my Whataburgers." So like, I was told you get mustard on your burgers there, and he said, "No, no, 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 no. You can take it off." So we went because we're broke college kids to Whataburger
Sure.
on a Friday night, and I fell in love not only with the boy but with the brand. So every single Friday night for the last several years,
Yeah.
we have gone to Whataburger for our date night. And three
That's
years
great.
into that, yeah, and 3 years into that relationship, he proposed to me.
Wow.
And he was like, "So we're engaged. It's really exciting. We have to celebrate. Where are we going to go?" And I looked at him and I looked him dead in the eye. I said, "Where do you think we're going?" And we went to Whataburger, and that was our engagement meal.
Well, I guess it was meant to be. That's
It
that's
was.
pretty amazing. So he swept you off your feet by taking you to Whataburger. That's
He did. And then
wow.
continues to do so.
Oh, that's great. That's well, I told you I retired a couple of years ago, and fixed income people now we always look for a place to save money. And before Whataburger came to Springfield, we did Costco, and you could get $1.50 for a hot dog and a
Yes.
soda. So that's
I
date
love
night.
that.
That's Wednesday night date night. Anyway,
That's
so
amazing.
okay, so you've been exposed to Whataburger for a long time. Where did you go to college?
I am a Texas A&M graduate, but
Okay,
from the Corpus Christi branch. It
all
is
right.
one of the only colleges that is on an island.
That's so we were there 2 years ago, right after the freeze, which was
Yeah.
amazing. I guess they haven't had a freeze there in like 1,000 years, and
It shut the highways down because
it shut
they didn't
everything
have to.
down
It was
except Whataburger.
insane.
We did go to Whataburger, and they were open, and they had good food. So, God
Even
bless
when
them.
we were there for Hurricane Harvey, they still opened their doors. They couldn't serve, but they were serving water bottles out of their restaurants because we
Oh,
didn't
really?
have water during Hurricane
Wow.
Harvey. It was awesome.
So you're going to be able to share with us the Whataburger story, I take it, because you've been with them
Oh,
now a long time. Okay, so hold on to that for a second. I want to tell the listeners and viewers again that my guest right now is Candace Lolcoma. I've been informed, even though it's not spelled that way, but it's pronounced Lolcoma. And Candace is the corporate field marketing coordinator for Kansas and Missouri Whataburgers. And you're listening to Around the Ozarks Spotlight. Uh, so, Candace, the Whataburger franchise has been around for how long? How many years?
we started in 1950, so we're 73 years old. And we just became a national holiday. August 8th is our birthday. So we are now National Whataburger Day on August 8th.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah,
It's
so that's how we celebrated our 73rd birthday.
well, that's great. Not the store has, not you. So
No,
that's a good.
my
Was it
goodness, not me.
did Whataburger start out as a family business, not unlike McDonald's and some others, or was Whataburger
Yeah.
always a an idea that was brewed up in the corporate world of food?
So we are family based.
Hmm.
We were founded in 1950 by somebody named Harmon Dobson, and the Dobson family is still involved heavily into our businesses, but more on the local charity side of things now.
Okay,
But they sold us a couple of years ago to an investment group to allow us to continue our expansion. But they
sure.
still own a lot of Whataburger, which is great. But the Dobson family is phenomenal. And it was just one guy, and he decided that he just wanted to build this burger. And you had to take the first bite. And the only thing you could say after you bit into this huge burger that you had to hold with both hands was, "Man, what a burger." And that's how we got our name.
Is
And
that right?
yeah, and
I
then a
love it.
couple of
I
years
love that.
afterwards, he
Yeah.
died in a plane crash.
Uh,
So his wife actually continued on with his dream and continued building those Whataburgers for him.
that's a great story. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
And we won't even get into the finger looking good part of what
I
he does. So. It's a Whataburger. That makes a ton of sense. Now, all of a sudden, we have this little team called the Kansas City Chiefs, and
Yes,
they flounder's not the right word. That's unfair. But the Chiefs, had a hard time finding their way for a number of years, and all of a sudden they get this young fellow named Patrick Mahomes, who's all world athlete and probably, if not the finest quarterback ever, certainly one of the top 3 or 4. And
for
now the
sure.
Kansas City Chiefs are 2-time world champions, winning 2 Super Bowls. And lo and behold, we start to have all these Whataburgers in and around Southwest Missouri. Now, is Patrick involved in the ones that are in Springfield?
He is involved with all Whataburgers because he is a huge fan of ours, just like we're a huge fan of his. But
Okay.
his franchise is not in Springfield; those are still corporate owned. And then in Kansas City, part of the Whataburgers in Kansas City are franchise, while the other half is corporate. So
Oh,
we
is
are
that
in a
right?
mixed model. Yeah, so we work really well together. We tell each other all the time we're like brother and sisters, where we want each other to succeed, but we're
Mhm.
very competitive.
Is that right?
Yeah.
So the stores that we're getting in Southwest Missouri, are those corporate stores or are they franchise stores?
Yes, they are corporate stores.
Okay.
While corporate is running, so the way it looks like is like corporate kind of owns Missouri side of things, and then
Hmm.
franchise is running in on a Kansas side. It allows us to expand a little faster and get to all of our amazing customers.
Oh, that's great. So why all of a sudden did it spring up in Springfield? It's gone for years, as being kind of a Texas thing, and I know some people have seen them out west, some other areas. But lo and behold, after the Patrick Mahomes story, bingo, now they're all over the place, or they're becoming all over the place in Springfield, which is great.
Yeah, we have 4 restaurants there now, and we're prepping to open our 5th one off of Eastgate over by that Menards.
Yes.
So we should be opening that early October. But the reason we picked Springfield is, as you know, I'm from Southeast Kansas. So
Hmm.
that's where the people are, the good people. And when you think about like those amazing customers, that loyalty, that hometown feel that Whataburger gives, You have to go where those communities are. And Springfield just naturally felt like it was right on the path for that.
You know, we are a little spoiled. My wife and I moved to Springfield about 8 years ago from the Detroit, Michigan area. And even though, Detroit gets its lumps, but the suburbs of Detroit are actually quite beautiful, and you've got the Great Lakes and all of that sort of thing. Once we got down to Springfield, I mean, we found a city of, 250,000 people, not a lot of noise, folks that get along. Everything's 15 minutes away. And quite frankly, and I think this works in Whataburger's favor, we've got a lot of very good restaurants in town, and many that are family owned, been around a long time, but those are sit down, order at the table kind of thing. And when you've got things now like Whataburger, which quite frankly is a perfect place to take a family, wonderful food, very good prices, and as you say, a burger so big you actually make an exclamation.
Yes, and you have to hold it with two hands.
It's amazing. I got to share a quick little side story. One of the things that really amazed me when I moved down here, I came down about 6 months before my wife moved down. We had to sell a home up in Michigan. Was a table of four in a small restaurant, holding hands and saying grace before they ate. And even though that's amazing enough, because you don't really see that much up north,
Right.
When they were done, guess what didn't come out of their pockets? Nobody had their cell phone on the table. They all sat and talked, and it was,
Wow.
it was kind of an eye opener for me that said, this is a little different place on earth, certainly in our country, and we're very fortunate to be in a community like that. Now, one of the things that we tell folks that visit us all the time is everything's 15 minutes away. And the good news and bad news, you can, sit at a traffic light for an entire light sometimes, unlike other parts of the country where it can be many times. But things are only 15 minutes away. But now with 4 operating Whataburgers, that's what we're talking about. They're about 15 minutes away from almost everyone.
Yes, they are. They range anywhere from Ozark to Republic to, we've got almost 3. We'll have 3 by the end of the year in the Springfield city limits. And I think that's really incredible because we're trying to reach everybody and make it really convenient for everybody to stop by and see us.
Well, Candace, if I told you I was within walking distance of the new Eastgate store, would you believe me?
I would believe you because it's a beautiful location. It's right
we
there.
Can't wait. I got to tell you, my wife and I can't wait for that thing to open. Because we live right there. We live over near Cooper Estates. And what's funny is for us, we have to run down to Ozark to get our Whataburger fill. And even though that's not that far away, it's a little over 15 minutes. But now it's going to be, we can go get some hardware at Menards and have a Whataburger before we go home.
That's right.
So when does that open? When does that store open?
It is set to open. I don't love to give dates because, as you know, in the Midwest, they never, somehow construction just doesn't always go with us with
especially
weather.
These days. I mean, everything's messed up these days. Yeah.
Yes, but we had a meeting yesterday and everybody's in place. So we are ready to rock and roll as soon as we get the go ahead on the building. So we should be expected mid-October at the latest.
Well, we've been traveling, so I haven't been home in a while. And the only thing we saw was the outside of the building being constructed. I take it the store is just about complete?
It should be just about complete. They have a walkthrough in a couple of weeks here, and that will go through everything to make sure that we have everything in place that we need. And we will open drive-through only for the first few weeks, just to make sure that everything's set up and ready to go before we open our dining room.
Well, we get home around mid-October, so the hope certainly is that
you
it'll be open.
Be there. I will let you know. As soon as I get the approval, I will send it straight to you.
I also want to get one of those shirts, whatever those things cost, but I like your shirt. That would be, I'd wear it proudly. Trust me. I really would. My guest today at Around the Ozark Spotlight is Candace Lolcoma. Candace is the corporate field marketing coordinator for Kansas and Missouri Whataburgers. We're going to find out more about what Whataburgers have in the future for us here in Springfield right after these messages. We'll be back in a moment.
Hey everybody, it's Ethan and Sarah Forhetz from your favorite podcast, Around the Ozarks in 5. I'm sure you've been wondering, how can I get even more amazing stories, events, and witty banter to start my day?
Well, look no further. Here we are. Sign up for our daily newsletter. You'll have what's going on around the Ozarks right at your fingertips each weekday morning.
Yeah, just go to AroundTheOzarks.com, click on the newsletter tab to sign up.
Thanks for listening to Around the Ozarks in 5. We hope to see you in your inbox soon.
Welcome back to today's Around the Ozarks Spotlight. I'm your host, Scott Meier, and with me is Candace Lolcoma. Candace is the Candace. Can't they shorten this up somehow? Do we call you the
Just call me
CFMC?
Candace.
Call you what? I'm sorry.
Just call me Candace. I don't have to have any fancy title. I'm a Whataburger for the people.
Okay, so Candace is a Whataburger for the people, but she's in marketing and has a great love for the whole thing that is Whataburger, which is great. You know, if you didn't have passion in what you do, would it be any fun at all?
Exactly. You have to have fun at your job, or else then you're just working to death, and that's never fun for anybody.
Now, you said you were a single lady up until you met this wonderful husband that takes you on date night to Whataburger. What does he do?
He is I'm going to have to play this for him because I get his title wrong every time. It's way too hard. He runs the food safety program for Hostess, the Twinkie company.
Sure. So he works for Hostess Twinkies.
Yeah,
so that's an interesting discussion at night. You got the Twinkies, you got the Whataburgers. I mean, it's a food family. Do you have a family? Do you have a family?
Yes, I have a 9-month-old daughter. She is my Whata baby, is what we call her.
Okay.
And she is our miracle. So it's me, my husband, and my little girl.
Oh, that's great. When you say miracle, was this in planning for a long time and surprise?
It was 2 years of trying, several tests saying you're never having babies naturally, an infertility appointment, and then we got pregnant before my infertility appointment. It was the best phone call that I got to make to cancel that infertility treatment, was to say, I'm pregnant. I don't need you anymore. So she is truly our miracle baby.
Yeah. Oh, congratulations. That's fantastic.
You.
And when she's 9 months old?
Yeah.
So let's see, 9 months. So she's a Christmas baby?
She is November 22nd. So she is a Thanksgiving baby.
That's my wife's birthday, November 22nd. So she's right on the cusp. She's either going to be a Scorpio or a Sag.
Yeah.
And I'm November 5th. I'm a Scorpio. My wife's more of a Sag. She's on the 22nd, but she's more of a Sagittarius. So it'll be interesting to see what you have.
I think so far she's screaming Sagittarius, but we'll see as she grows.
So Whataburger's plans as we move forward, what can we look forward to? Because there's other things obviously in this area where I'm sure they'd like to have a store. Branson would make sense.
Branson would be a beautiful location.
Yeah. So there's lots of other areas around. Are those on the docket? Can you even speak to that, or is that confidential?
What I can officially say is we're heading to Joplin next year. We have 2 locations set for Joplin. We would love Branson. It's in our sights, but we don't have anything guaranteed right now.
Okay, but Joplin's going to come on board. Well, Joplin's
we've got 2. One in Joplin and one in Webb City, right off of the range line and whatever the one in Webb City, that major road is.
Sure. Okay. Now, you being a big fan of the store and all the food, what's your favorite?
My very favorite was a limited time offering for a long time, and it made me mad every time they took it away. But it officially made its menu debut in like 2021. But it is the avocado bacon burger. And I remove the creamy pepper sauce that comes on it, and then I get a side of gravy, and I dip my whole burger right into the gravy.
Really? Yeah. That sounds good. Gravy. I didn't even know Whataburger had gravy. What kind of gravy is that?
It's white chicken gravy. It comes with our chicken strips. Yes, and it is so good. I dip my fries in it. I dip everything in it. But between that and spicy ketchup, it's a win-win.
No, it sounds like it. How about your husband? What's his favorite?
He is a solid number 2 guy. He likes the double Whataburger, and they're 5-inch buns and 5-inch patties to match it. So he eats 10 inches worth of meat and he gets it all the way. He loves the fries, loves the onion rings, whichever one, and he has to have spicy ketchup every time.
So if I was to open your cupboards at home, not that I would, but if I did, would I find them full of Twinkies, or what's the...
You would find my cupboards full of, right now it's those old-fashioned donuts they just released. And cherry pies, because those are my favorite. And then in our fridges are spicy and fancy ketchups.
Is that right? Okay. So that all makes sense.
We sell them at the grocery store, so...
Now, Candace, for you to get a real handle on how a Whataburger works, have you worked at a store? Was that part of your... I'm sorry?
I did.
You did. Tell us about that. How'd that go?
Well, when I was 14 years old, I started getting paid under the table as a fry cook. So like I kind of knew the basics of it, but I started in unit training is what it's called. And you do it when you're new. It took me 6 months to get mine completed because we opened restaurants as soon as I started. But I did it in Northwest Arkansas at one of the restaurants down there. I did it for an entire week. And after day one, they said, you're going to be the customer facing, like greeting lady, because I don't think they wanted me cooking food anymore.
Is that right? Okay.
I think I messed up their whole system a couple times because I just didn't, it's not what I'm good at. So they're like, you're really good with customers. Let's get you out front.
I think it's amazing that at your very young age, which we're not going to talk about, but is obvious, you're not, well, you're certainly not my age, but that your passion, getting back to the P word, your passion for Whataburger is something that has been built over so much time, from your teens forward. It's amazing. You don't hear many stories like that anymore.
No, you don't. Loyalty is hard to come by. So when you find it, you really treasure those kind of things. And I'm very passionate for my job. I love Whataburger. I love what it does for its community. I love our charitable aspect. I love every ounce of it.
Well, let's talk about that a little bit. I'll set you up with some softballs, but tell us about the charity aspect. What do they do?
So we have a charitable pillar called Feeding Student Success. It encompasses anything that brings food insecurities and making sure students are successful through their early education, all the way through college, trade school, whatever they want to do after high school. So we partner with local charitable givings to kind of help ensure that they have that safety net. So like the Boys and Girls Club, we're a huge affiliate with, the Dream Center in Springfield. We've got tons of people that we work with that we absolutely love because they make a difference in those kids' lives.
Boy, that's so true. Boys and Girls Clubs.
I love them.
I love them too. It's one of the rare things. I've sat on two boards, and there's a lot of charities that do a lot of great work, but sometimes there's never a finish. Yeah. You can help, but there's never a finish. In Boys and Girls Clubs, the kids that come out the other end and the work that they do to help kids like them, bring them through to the other end. And so many of them go on to such great stories. I mean, it saved them. It literally saved them. Why do you think Whataburger finds that important?
I think that Whataburger understands that it is not my generation or even your generation that makes the difference. It's these kids that are growing up. They are what's coming up, and they have to have the right tools to be successful so that we as a whole can be successful.
On your signature, on your email, it talks about lots of opportunities for people to become part of Whataburger. What's available locally? Opening 4 stores, I got to believe you're hiring.
We're hiring always, and we have these amazing QR codes where you can scan and go directly to our application online, which is great. We're hiring anybody from family members, which is what we call our team members, that can work any shift. We're very flexible on schedules. As you know, we're 24/7, so we can change those schedules anytime. To our team leaders, which is our step up, our management team, and then our operating partners who run our restaurants. We do have everybody slated for that, but Joplin's coming up and we're going to need people.
So how has that process been for you in the Springfield area?
I'm going to say we're very lucky because we have had pretty good luck at finding some incredible people to work with us and to work for us. So we're not understaffed. We're not overstaffed. We're just like perfect.
It's an incredibly competitive market.
my
The
gosh,
history
yes.
wasn't always that way, but in the last few years, with the addition of Amazon and the merchandise centers, having corporate headquarters for companies like O'Reilly and all the hiring they do, Andy's, being headquartered here in the fast food industry, it really must be a challenge.
What's nice is we love Andy's because, as you can tell, anytime you drive by one of our spots, you're probably going to find an Andy's right next to it. It's my boss's personal favorite place in the world, just so you know. So we have to go every time we are there. But Andy's is great because there's only so many people who can fit into that little spot. So if we can partner together and hire other people that work with them, it's great. So we do work with Andy's just because we know hiring is hard. It's
Now,
tough.
let me put you on the spot. Does that mean the Eastgate location might have an Andy's coming up next to it? Is that?
I cannot speak to that. It would be nice. You're going to have to call Andy and tell him.
It sure would. Well, we're almost running out of time, and I just want to make sure that we get all the good things in about Whataburger and the Whataburger people. The managers that you have now, you said, are all hired. All the managers are in place.
Yes.
And the store on the east side should be open sometime in October. Is that fair? Does that give you enough of a wide space?
That gives me a buffer. Yes.
Okay. And is there more expansion? Are there more expansion plans for Springfield, or does this look to be all the stores that we have now?
As of right now, that's the only list I've got. But as things change, you'll be the first to know, I'm sure.
Now, does Whataburger have any kind of relationship with Trader Joe's? Because the one thing we still don't have in this town is Trader Joe's.
No, but I love Trader Joe's, and ours are all like in the downtown city area, and I'm just not going there.
Well, I'm just, when you look at a company like Whataburger, you can find them in a lot of large cities, but I don't know that you find them in a lot of mid-range cities. And I think Springfield is blessed with that, with Whataburger finding it a place to be in a very competitive market, a very competitive food market. Can you talk at all about how some of the stores are doing? Are they meeting or exceeding what expectations have been?
They are meeting and exceeding all of our expectations. We opened with a soft opening approach, so we didn't advertise a lot. We didn't kind of announce that we were opening. We did drive-through only first, and then 6 weeks later opened our dining room. But everyone here has been just incredible, and they all stop by and see us, and our sales have just done great, and it is because of the community, and we can't thank them enough for their support and continued partnership.
So what do you see? What's next for you? What's next for Candace?
In what capacity?
Well, I mean, you said your boss. I'm thinking at some point you might want to be your boss.
I'd love to. She's phenomenal. She's the regional marketing manager. She has 5 states that she covers. It's huge. Okay. Which maybe I don't want all of that. She's busy all the time, but I definitely want to increase and cover some more territory because I love Whataburger, and spreading the joy to everybody in the Midwest would be a dream of mine.
Well, that's excellent. We're just about out of time. So where can people look if they want to get a head start on trying to find an opportunity when opportunities open? Where should they go?
Head on over to Whataburger.com, and there's a careers path. You can apply there. You can order any of our merch on the Whata store. I'm backwards. My shirt's over here. But any of our merchandise, we partner with Yeti, Igloo, and some incredible members. So head on over to our Whataburger.com, and it has everything you need.
So when I go to Whataburger.com, I can buy that exact same T-shirt, eh?
It's where I bought it last week.
Oh, so that's a new color and everything.
It is, yeah. And the back of it has like the big W
nice
on there. Yeah.
Sweet.
So
I'm gonna get mine. I want to thank my guest today, Candace Lolcoma. thank you for being with us, Candace, especially on short notice, because I know you're a busy lady. But I want to thank her for being around with us and sharing time with us on Around the Ozark Spotlight. Also, my producers, Taylor Worley and Jay Stevens, as well as all of you for having joined us. If you happen to miss all or part of today's program, you can always find it in its entirety on the MidwestFamilySpringfield.com website, the AroundTheOzarks.com site, or even our new app for Around the Ozarks, which can be found in the Apple apps or Android apps. You can find us pretty much everywhere. You can view and hear today's show as well as all the other shows from earlier this year. Again, I want to thank Candace for being with us. Candace, and I'm Scott Meier. And remember that every day is a gift. Have a great day.